Hello guys, welcome back to my today's tutorial. Today we'll be looking at how to draft a 6 pieces skirt. I'll be using a 3.5 yard of Ankara fabric to teach you how to draft this skirt. Okay, firstly I'll be using the circumference of my skirt, that's the circumference of the lower part. The fuller you want your skirt, that determines the volume you fold your fabric, that's the width, and depends on the amount of fabric you have. So what I'll be using, if you want it full, use at least 20 inches for the circumference of the flare, for the circumference of the skirt. So me, I'll be using 20 inches. Since I've folded my fabric into two like this, I'll divide that 20 by 2, which is 10 inches. Or you can measure your hip, divide it by 6 and multiply it by 2.5 to get 10 inches. Whatever you get, you divide it by 2. So we'll just go straight to our measurement. Okay, I'll be taking my skirt length, my hip line and my waistline. That's the measurements I'll be needing for the sake of this tutorial. So the skirt length I'm working with is 34 inches, and I'll be adding 2 inches extra for seam allowance, plus 2 inches for seam allowance. So I'll just go ahead and rule out the line. So this line will serve as my waistline. I'll use this line for my starting point. So I'll measure from the distance between my waist and my hip, which is 8 inches. So I'll mark out the line. Then the distance from my waist to my hip is 20 inches, but I'll be using 17 inches. I came up using 17 inches before my knee to enable me to walk freely. If you don't do that, you won't be able to walk freely with your skirt. So I'll be marking 17 inches for my half length, my skirt half length. That's like 3 inches before my knee. So you can see the 3 lines I've drawn out: my waistline, my hip line, and my knee line. That's before my knee, not exactly on the knee line. So remember, I folded using 20 inches. 20 divided by 2 is 10 inches. So what we're having here is 10 inches. So I just trimmed off the excesses I had. Okay, you divide your waist measurement by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Whatever you get, you divide it by 2. So what I'm having is 4.75. That's after the division. I divided by 2 again because my material is folded into 2. So on my hip line, I'll divide my hip measurement by 6 plus 1.5 for seam allowance. Then whatever I get, I'll still divide by 2 again because my material is folded into 2. So what I had here was 5. So on my knee line, I'll mark what I have on my hip line and minus 1 inches to give it a shape. So what I'm having here is 5 inches. 5 minus 1 will give me 4 inches. So I'll just mark my 4 inches here. So I'll use my ruler to connect it from this point to the hem of the skirt. Okay, I just connected my lines together. As you can see, I added 1.5 inches extra to this skirt. If you don't add extra inches to it, it will later become too small and you might not be able to wear the skirt. So you have to add extra inches to it. As you are joining the 6 pieces together, that's how you are taking out from it. So you'll be needing extra inches on it. So what I'll be doing, I'll cut this first pattern. I believe you guys understood what I did here. Waist measurement divide by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Then whatever you get, you divide by 2. And that was what I marked here on my waistline and also my knee line. So I'll just cut it out. You can see how our first piece is looking. This is the lower part, which is 20 inches wide. When it's on fold, it's 2 inches. You can see it's exactly 20 inches wide, and this is the upper part of it. So I'll use this piece to cut out the rest of it. I'll cut out 5 of these before measuring for my zipper allowance. So I'm just placing my first pieces to cut out the rest 5 before cutting the last one, which will be the center back where my zipper is going to lie. I'll just cut out 5 of these. Okay, for my zip area, since I want my skirt to be very full, like in the mermaid form, but very full, I'll mark out 8 inches. Need to extend it a little. So I'll mark out 8 inches. I believe you can see what I'm doing. This is exactly 8 inches. Then I'll place my piece. The other pieces I've cut out already. One of the pieces I've cut out, you just place it after the 8 inches. Then what we'll be doing is to trace out the flay. And make sure your fabric is equal. Okay. I'll just trace out the flay. I'm using my chalk to just trace that out. Just trace out the shape to the starting point. Then I'll mark 2 inches for my zipper allowance. I'll come out here by 2 inches from the waistline. Two inches. And where I have my shape, that's before my knee, the 17 inches, I'll stop there. I'll just stop there and use my ruler to connect. Okay, from that point, I'll flip my skirt over. I believe you can see what I'm doing. Then I'll still connect to this line. You can see, you just connect it from where I marked my 2 inches. I'll just connect it like this to the end of the skirt. Okay, this is what I'll be having. You can see it. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. I believe you understand what I did. After, I want to go over it again for a clearer view. You place your piece, that's one of the piece, the 5 piece you cut out. You mark out 2 inches after your piece, your other piece. These 2 inches, we are marking 2 inches because of our zipper allowance. So these 2 inches will serve for zipper allowance. Then from that point, you stopped at the 17 inches you marked out earlier on. Then you flip your skirt piece over like this. Then you trace the line. You trace from that point you marked, you stopped your marking down to the hem of the skirt. Then you flip it over again. You trace the other side as well. Then you cut out. I believe this explanation is clear enough. This will enable the down of the skirt to be full. Even at the back part, the flare will flow very well. So I just cut it out. Make sure you mark the zipper side in order not to mix it up. So that was why I drew this X line on it. So I can know this is for my back part. So I'll just pick two from the other five and attach to this one. You can see how it's looking at the down, looking very full. You can see how beautiful it's looking. So I just cut out my lining using same process. Okay, I've attached my back piece together. This for the zipper side, that's the center back and the hip area. So the back is going to be 4 piece, the two zipper at the middle, then your center, the side you cut out for the zip will be at the center back, and this is it. So what I'll be doing now, I'll attach. I've also joined the front part of it, which is 3. The back is 4, while the front is 3 piece. I've joined it together. I've cut out my lining. I've joined my lining as well. You can see the lining. I joined it separately. This is the lining for the front, and this is the lining for the back. You can see. So what I'll go and do now is to use my lining to turn the Ankara. I'll use it to turn the lower part and the side area. Then I'll use my body measurement to shape in the gown, the skirt. Sorry, the skirt. So I'll just use my body measurement to shape in. I'll use my measurement to shape in the skirt. You can see how full it's looking after I joined the 3 piece together. So see how full and wide it is. I'll give it a good press by the time I'm done. You can see. So I'll just go ahead now and use my lining to turn it over and take the body measurement. So remember, you join 3 at the front, then 4 for the back. The back is 4 piece because of the. Okay, I finished attaching my lining to my skirt, and this is what the front part looks like, and this is the back. So what I'll be doing now is to attach my zip and pipe the waist with a bias strip, a 1-inch bias strip. I'll pipe around the waist and attach my zip. That will be all for my 6 pieces skirt.